From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang. The Philippines is deploying an emergency team to help in the ongoing disaster response efforts in Myanmar following the 7.7 magnitude earthquake on March 28th. In a Palace Press briefing, Palace Press Officer and Presidential Communications Office or PCO Undersecretary Claire Castro said, a team consisting of 114 personnel from the Department of Health or DOH, Bureau of Fire Protection or BFP, Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP, and Metro Manila Development Authority or MMDA will be deployed in the quake-hit areas. Their tentative deployment date is on Tuesday, April 1st. Meanwhile, the Palace Press Officer said, government agencies have already set up contingency measures on the likelihood of a strong quake that could hit the country at any time. In the same press briefing, Castro added that local government units or LGU building officers should conduct regular inspections and be strict in issuing building permits.
Opo, nagkaroon po ng interagency meeting at sa pangunguna rin po ni Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. ay sinabi po na imomobilize na po ang mga resources para po agad tayo makatulong sa ating mga karatig bansa. At bukas nga po ang tentative travel date po for deployment ng ating mga kumakatawan. Parang lalabas po ang grand total po ay 114 personnel ang ating ipapadala bukas. Tentative date po yan. Ito'y manggagaling sa mga ahensya tulad po ng DOH at kasama na rin po dito yung Urban Search and Rescue Team ng Bureau of Fire Protection at ng Armed Forces of the Philippines. Nandito rin po ang MMDA at mula sa Apex Mining Corporation or First Gen Energy Development. So, yan po ay padadala po natin, tentative date po tomorrow para po makatulong po ang Pilipinas sa ating mga kababayan din po at sa mga citizens po o mga mamamayan po dito sa mga nasabing bansa na dumaranas po ngayon ng krisis dahil po sa nabanggit na lindol. Yan po ay ang pinag-utos po ng Pangulo sa ating mga agency na agaran po na tumulong sa ating mga kapitbahay na bansa. Sa mga ganitong pagkakataon po kasi hindi po talaga natin masasabi kung kailan mangyayari pero mas maganda po na maging handa. Karamihan po, halos po ang government agencies po natin prepared po dyan. Nagkakaroon po ng earthquake drill, fire drill at meron po tayong nakahanda po mga go bags. Sa ano naman po sa mga local government units sa atin din po na sa idinidemand po natin hangga't maaari po na yung mga building officers nila ay magsagawa po ng mga inspection kung maaari at maging mahigpit din po sila sa pagbibigay ng mga permits sa pagpapagawa ng mga buildings na magiging maaaring hindi ganon katibay. Yan po at sabi nga po natin maliban po sa gobyerno, tayong mga Pilipino, taong bayan, magtulong-tulungan din po dito sa information dissemination patungkol po sa paghahanda pag ganito po ang nangyari.
That was Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
In the meantime, the Philippine government has set aside an emergency fund of over $100,000 to help overseas Filipino workers or OFWs affected by the magnitude 7.7 earthquake that struck Myanmar on March 28th. In an interview, Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA Undersecretary Eduardo de Vega said, the fund will be used for medical assistance, relocation, or finding jobs. The funds may also be spent for repatriation, although there is no request yet. Earlier, the Philippine Embassy in Yangon said that of the 128 registered Filipinos in Myanmar, 4 are unaccounted for, while the condition of three others is under verification. De Vega urged relatives who have yet to reach their loved ones in Myanmar to get in touch with the DFA or the embassy at +95 998 521 0991. 2 of the 4 missing are husband and wife working as teachers. Their relatives in Bay City, Negros Oriental Province have already gotten in touch with authorities. Undersecretary De Vega said more Filipinos may also be missing, but the embassy has no information as of yet. Relatives who have yet to receive word may call the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration or OWA hotline 1348 or reach out through the Facebook page Overseas Filipino Help. De Vega invited the relatives of the 4 missing Filipinos to visit the DFA so that they can check on what kind of assistance they can provide while their loved ones are still missing. The DMW secretary added that the Philippine Embassy in Yangon is actively coordinating with local authorities and community leaders to locate the missing individuals who could be in the condominium that collapsed when the earthquake hit. The death toll continues to rise in the Myanmar quake, with at least 1,700 people confirmed deaths, 3,400 injured, and nearly 300 are still unaccounted for.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Monday assured the detained overseas Filipino workers or OFWs in Qatar that they will not be neglected and the government will provide them all the necessary assistance. In a Palace Press briefing, Palace Press Officer and Presidential Communications Office or PCO Undersecretary Claire Castro underscored that once the news spread out that there are Filipinos being detained in Qatar, the government acted immediately to help. The OFWs were arrested after allegedly holding protest action on Friday, March 28th, as part of their support to former President Rodrigo Duterte, who is currently being investigated by the International Criminal Court or ICC. The former president is currently detained at The Hague in the Netherlands to face charges against crimes on humanity for the extrajudicial killings during his term as mayor of Davao City and as president of the Philippines. The Department of Migrant Workers or DMW is currently providing assistance to the 17 OFWs that are currently being detained in Qatar, while the agency is still locating which stations arrested the 4 other Filipinos who were part of the protests. The DMW, together with the Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA and the Philippine Embassy in Doha, has sent its labor attaché to the police stations where the OFWs are being detained. Following the incident, DMW Secretary Hans Leo reminded OFWs to refrain from holding activities that would violate the laws of the host country.
Nung araw po na ito ay napabalita, agad-agaran po ang embahada natin po ay tumulong po agad. Nagpadala po ng labor attaché, isa din pong lawyer para po malaman at mapaglaban ang kanilang mga karapatan. At maliban po dyan ay kung ano pa po ang maaari natin ibigay na tulong, let's say mga care packages, na sa abot makakaya ng ating pamahalaan, ibibigay po natin sa ating kababayan sa nasabing bansa. Obligasyon pa rin po ng ating pamahalaan, ng administrasyon, ang mga Pilipino ano man po ang kulay nila. Wala po tayong sinisino, wala po tayong discrimination patungkol po dyan. Basta po kapwa Pilipino, tutulungan po yan ng administrasyon.
That was Palace Press Officer and Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Malacañang on Monday advised aspiring overseas Filipino workers or OFWs to undergo legal and proper process if they want to pursue job opportunities abroad. This as 176 Filipinos were repatriated from Myanmar after being allegedly victims of human trafficking in illegal scam centers at Myawaddy, Myanmar. Last Wednesday, March 26, the first batch of the rescued OFWs arrived in the country on board a special flight from Bangkok, Thailand. However, there are still about 500 OFWs trapped in Myanmar that await for their turn to return home. The Philippine government assured them that they will not be neglected and they will receive rightful assistance and aid as soon as possible. In a Palace Press briefing, Presidential Communications Office or PCO Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said, the Philippine government is always willing to help those in need and is willing to provide aid for these alleged victims from Myanmar. Castro, however, encouraged every Filipino who wants to work abroad to undergo rightful and legal procedure to avoid human trafficking and scams such as those trapped in Myanmar.
Unang-una po, nakikiusap po tayo sa mga Pilipino na nagnanais magtrabaho sa ibang bansa. Dumaan lang po sana sa tamang proseso. Huwag po silang makikipag-transact nang hindi alam po ng gobyerno. Kaya nga po tayo may POEA para po sila po ay mabigyan ng seguridad na ang kanilang pupuntahan ay sila ay safe. So, maliban po sa gagawin po ng gobyerno, makipagtulungan po sana ang ating mga kababayan. Mahirap naman po kadalasan pag mahigpit man po ang ating officers sa Bureau of Immigration o offload minsan, hindi rin po maganda. So, kayo na rin po, makipagtulungan na rin po kayo sa gobyerno para po maiwasan natin yung mga ganitong klaseng sitwasyon.
Undersecretary Castro encouraged OFWs to coordinate with the Philippine Overseas Employment Administration or POEA to ensure that they get legitimate and safe employment opportunities. The public may also report any illegal recruitment activities through the Department of Migrant Workers or DMW Protection Bureau's official channels or by calling their hotline number at 0928 721-0619.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Monday, Malacañang vowed to address concerns on the rising rate of Filipinos who claim that they are experiencing hunger. According to the Social Weather Stations or SWS survey conducted from the 15th to the 20th of March, there was a 27.2% increase of Filipino families nationwide who claimed that they experienced involuntary hunger at least once in the past 3 months. In a press briefing at Malacañang Palace, Presidential Communications Office or PCO Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro highlighted the Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD's various programs and projects to address this issue. One of the projects that the Palace Press Officer stressed is the Walang Gutom program, formerly known as the agency's food stamp program. This project aims to provide food for Filipino families by distributing 3,000 pesos monthly as food aid for the 300,000 food-poor households, feeding an estimated 1.5 million individuals. Aside from the Walang Gutom program, Castro also enumerated other projects from the DSWD, such as the Walang Gutom Kitchen, as well as the Walang Gutom Project Kusinero Cook-Off Challenge that promotes improved public nutrition. The palace press officer then assured the public that the rising rate of hunger in the Philippines will be studied further to identify which areas within the country are experiencing extreme hunger and find ways on how to address this immediately.
Actually, aaralin po yan dahil po sa bagong report po ng DSWD, marami na po kasing programa na talaga pong pantawid gutom. Unahin ko po ang programa ng DSWD na nagsisilbi po sa 300,000 poor food households na may equivalent po na 1.5 million individuals across the country po ito. Sila po ay binibigyan ng 3,000 na pesos na halaga na pera, 3,000 pesos monthly as food aid. Pangalawa po programa ng DSWD ay Walang Gutom Kitchen. Ito po ay located sa Pasay City, kung saan nagsisilbi po ng mga hot free meals sa mga pamilya, sa mga bata, lalo-lalo na yung mga nasa lansangan. Maliban pa po dyan ay meron pa rin po tayong, meron po ang DSWD na programa. Ito po yung Walang Gutom Project Kusinero Cook-Off Challenge para po ma-improve yung public nutrition. At meron din po ang Walang Gutom Project that provides eligible families with electronic benefit transfer po. Ito po 3,000 peso monthly food credits. So, aaralin po natin kung saan nanggagaling itong mga sinasabi na nagugutom pa ang ibang mga kababayan natin. At para malaman natin kung saang lugar ito at kung meron man pagkukulang, ay maibsan po natin ang ganitong klaseng mga sitwasyon po.
That was Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still on Monday, Malacañang gave updates on the Marcos administration's flagship program, the Pambansang Pabahay para sa Pilipino or 4PH program. During a press briefing, Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro shared data from the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development, or DHSUD, as to the current progress of the 4PH project. According to the report, Castro said around 90 projects are ongoing across the country and are currently in various stages of development and construction. The Palace Press Officer added that this will be able to provide approximately 259,365 housing units. Additionally, Castro said 82 projects are currently on pre-production stage, 226 pending proposals, and less than 8,000 housing units to be distributed. When asked if the administration will be able to deliver the 1 million housing units each year to Filipinos to address the 6.5 million backlog, Undersecretary Castro quoted President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., stating the 1 million homes is an ambitious number but the government will try its best.
Okay, sinabi naman po ng ating Pangulo na ito po yung salita niya, and I quote, "We are aiming for 1 million homes, 1 million low-cost and socialized homes a year. It is an ambitious number, but we will try very, very hard." So, may mga pagkakataon po, gustuin po natin na matapos ang lahat, pero may mga causes of delays. Katulad po ng processing and release of development loans for private contractors, permitting or due diligence process on site suitability and land ownership. Meron din po, nagkakaroon din po ng problema or issue tungkol sa pagpapatayo because it's seems that there is longer construction period for vertical housing, at least 10 months average for walk-up. 4-story buildings pa lang po yun. At yung pong capacity to borrow or avail of the development loan of private contractors. At ito po'y ibibigay na napakamura po sa ating mga kababayan. Kaya po, kokonti lamang po ng mga contractors at developers ang sumasali sa proyektong ito. So ito po ay mga issues na hindi po ninanais ng administrasyon. But katulad ng sinabi ni PBBM ng ating Pangulo, we aim 1 million houses a year and we will try very, very hard.
Under Executive Order or EO number 34, signed by Executive Secretary Lucas Bersimin on behalf of the President on July 17, 2023, the 4PH program was declared as a flagship program of the government and directed all government agencies to come up with an inventory of suitable lands for the program.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, Malacañang said that due to contract obligations, the 5 peso fare hike to the light rail transit Line 1 or LRT1 will push through. In a Palace press briefing, Presidential Communications Office or PCO Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said that even though they wouldn't want to increase the fare for LRT1, they have no choice as the government is obligated to honor its contract with the railway's operator. Castro added that the fare increase was stipulated in a long-standing agreement, which the government is required to follow. The Palace press officer also claimed that there will be more problems for commuters of the railway if the price hike will be delayed further.
Gustuin po natin no? Gustuin po ng administrasyon na ito po ay hindi muna maituloy, pero yan po kasi ang nakasaad sa kontrata. Kundi po ako nagkakamali, nabanggit po ito na matagal na po dapat nagtaas ng presyo pero hino-hold po ito para po sa ating mga commuters. Pero tignan din po natin ang sitwasyon kapag kasama po kasi ito sa kontrata at hindi po itinupad or natupad ng gobyerno, mas magkakaroon po ng malaking problema ang ating mga commuters.
Starting on April 2nd, the maximum fare or a single journey ticket in LRT1 will rise from 45 pesos to 55 pesos, while the minimum fare will increase from 15 pesos to 20 pesos. Meanwhile, the maximum fare for a stored value card will go up from 43 pesos to 52 pesos, while the minimum fare will increase from 15 pesos to 16 pesos. Additionally, the current LRT1 fare formula that has 13 pesos and 29 centavos boarding fee and a 1 peso and 21 centavo per kilometer rate will be changed to a 16 peso and 25 centavo boarding fee with a 1 peso and 47 centavo per kilometer rate.
Dateline Malacañang.
And that concludes today's edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Radyo Pilipinas World Service Online, reaching you in digital format. Anytime, anywhere. From Manila, Philippines.
World News in 5.